Debate versus disrespect is the line most people miss. The moment the tone turns personal, you are not in a conversation anymore. You are in a tug-of-war for your attention. Every time you get dragged into a meaningless argument, you are doing something dangerous. You are handing your mind to a stranger. Not your body, your mind, your attention, your peace. And it often happens in small places. A meeting where someone smirks and says, "That idea is a joke." A comment thread where a stranger types, "You are clueless." And your fingers start moving before you even notice your jaw tighten. So here is the deal. You are going to learn the 5 types of people you must stop arguing with, and the Stoic moves that keep your inner citadel intact. By the end, you will have a clean engage versus exit rule, plus a 7-day sovereignty experiment to prove you are not just being calm, you are being in control. Your first win is a single line you can use today, even if it feels awkward coming out of your mouth. I do not debate in disrespect. If you want a real conversation, reset your tone. Debate versus disrespect is the gate you protect, because attention is the real currency here. If you let anyone yank that gate open, you are already paying for the argument. Most people think winning an argument is power. Stoics see it differently. Power is deciding what deserves your attention. The moment someone pulls you into reactive defense, explaining, justifying, correcting, proving, you have stepped outside the fortress. Epictetus makes it blunt. If someone could drag your body down the street and hand it to a passerby, you would be furious. So why do we hand over the mind so casually? Just because a stranger throws a few words. This is not about becoming passive or nice. It is about becoming selective. Selective with your words. Selective with your emotional energy. Selective with your presence. And, yes, it can feel awkward, like you are leaving points on the table, like the room expects you to clap back. So use a simple firewall. Label the pattern. Limit the exchange. Leave clean. Log the lesson. The first type is the person who replaces reasons with insults. Type number 1, the reveler. Debate versus disrespect is where the reveler lives. They do not want clarity. They want you flustered, fast, and defensive. Picture a work meeting with a slide on the screen and everyone half listening. You make a calm point. Then someone leans back and says, "That is the dumbest idea I have heard all quarter." Your stomach drops. Your face gets warm. And your brain starts sprinting. You want to fire back. You do not even understand the problem. And that is the moment the room stops tracking the idea and starts tracking your emotional posture. That is the trap. This is not discussion. It is status violence. The insult is a hook designed to make you prove your worth instead of test the claim. The Stoic move here is simple and ruthless. You do not control their mouth. You control your interpretation. Words do not injure you by themselves. Your agreement does. When you feel that heat, treat it like a smoke alarm, not a command. So you respond with one clean line, and you stop. If you want to discuss the idea, I am here. If you want to insult me, I am not available. It may feel stiff the first time, like you are breaking an unspoken social rule, because you are refusing the role they assigned you. Then you run a 10-second check before you say anything else. Did they address the claim? or did they attack the person? If it is personal, you exit. No exceptions. That exit can be silence, a subject change, or a simple, "We can come back to this," when it is respectful. The point is, you do not donate your nervous system to someone performing dominance. If the reveler attacks your dignity, the next type attacks your independence by borrowing the crowd opinion as a weapon. Type number 2, the crowd follower. Values over vibes sounds clean until you are inside the group chat and the room temperature changes. This type does not argue with reasons. They argue with belonging. You drop a simple opinion, maybe about how you spend money, who you date, what you will not tolerate at work. Someone replies fast, "Bro." Everyone knows that is cringe. You pause and type, "Everyone," and they come back, "Yeah, everyone." That is just how it is. The point is not the topic. The point is to make you feel socially unsafe for thinking independently. That is social gravity. Their argument is a poll, and the only data they trust is applause. Stoicism trains self-reliance, which is basically the willingness to stand alone for a minute without collapsing. Your values do not become true because they are popular, and they do not become false because they are unpopular. Popularity is a weather report, not a compass. The trap is subtle because it feels like you are being reasonable. You start explaining, qualifying, softening, laughing it off. You are not searching for truth anymore. You are negotiating for acceptance. That is how sovereignty leaks out. One small "what will they think" at a time. So you use one line and you stop. I am not building my life by consensus. I will take responsibility for my choice. It may land heavy, like you just turned the lights on at a party, but that is the cost of staying intact. Then run a quick test before you invest another sentence. If the crowd reversed tomorrow, would this person reverse too? If yes, you are not debating truth. You are debating mood. Save your energy for people who can stand on their own feet. Crowd followers are annoying. The next type is dangerous, because they do not just lack independent thinking. They lack moral sight. Type number 3, the morally blind. Good faith filter is the only way to stay sane with this type, because they do not just disagree with you. They rewrite you. Picture a family conversation at a kitchen table. You try to slow it down. I would like us to talk without twisting what I said. They do not answer the request. They answer with a label. You are always the victim. You think you are better than everyone. You say, "That is not what I said." And they smile like they caught you. See, you are doing it again. You can feel the familiar pull to explain your intent, to clear your name, to win back accuracy. And suddenly you are defending your character instead of talking about the issue. Marcus Aurelius prepared for this every morning, not with hatred, with readiness. You will meet people who are ungrateful, dishonest, jealous, arrogant. The point is not to diagnose them. The point is to stop being surprised when they act like themselves. Some people do not argue to learn. They argue to distort. You cannot reason someone into integrity if they do not value it. Trying is like teaching color to someone who refuses the concept of sight. If they cannot see good faith, your best argument becomes raw material for their next twist. So you use one clean exit line. We do not share standards for a fair conversation. I am stepping out. It will feel tense, because the old pattern was you performing clarity while they performed chaos. Then run a quick checklist. Do they summarize your point fairly? Do they correct themselves when wrong? Do they pay any cost for exaggerating or lying? 2 no answers equals exit. Every time. If the morally blind cannot see virtue, the next type tries to bargain it out of you slowly. Type number 4, the moral negotiator player. Non-negotiable standards is the only language this person respects, because their whole strategy is to make your values feel flexible. They do not come at you with an insult like the reveler. They come with a smile and a shortcut. Picture a workplace conversation in the hallway. Someone lowers their voice and says, "Be realistic. Just tweak the numbers." Everyone does it. You hesitate and say, "I am not comfortable with that." And they immediately reframe it as a personality problem. Do not be dramatic. You are making it personal. Notice what happened. The request was unethical. The pressure becomes social. They want you to feel like the obstacle is your temperament, not their ask. This is not persuasion. It is a test. Will you trade your character for comfort? Stoicism treats virtue as property you cannot outsource. In the prison of fate, your dignity is the one thing no one can confiscate unless you hand it over. And that handoff usually happens in small compromises that seem harmless in the moment. They will push for debate because debate creates wiggle room. If you argue long enough, you start searching for exceptions, loopholes, technicalities. That is how standards die. The Stoic refuses to argue about what is foundational, so you keep it short and you keep it final. I do not negotiate my standards. If that is required, I am not the person for this. It might feel stiff. It might even cost you social points, but it protects something more expensive than approval. Then run the stain test before you say yes to anything. If this became public tomorrow, would I respect myself? If not, the answer is already no. No discussion needed. Players bargain your integrity. The next type bargains your energy by turning suffering into a stage. Type number 5, the chronic complainer. Stop rescuing, start respecting is the move here. Because this person is not asking for help. They are asking for a witness. Picture a phone call that always starts the same way. My boss is evil. My life is cursed. Nothing ever works. You try to bring it down to earth and ask, what is one action you can take this week? And they shut it down fast. Do not fix it. Just listen. That line sounds harmless, but it is a contract. They want you to join the story where they are powerless and the world is to blame. Listening is not the same as joining. Chronic complainers often want an audience, not agency. If you argue with them or try to correct their thinking, you become a co-actor in their identity as the perpetual victim. You will feel it in your body. Your shoulders tense. Your brain starts writing solutions. You leave the call drained and vaguely irritated. Then you feel guilty for being irritated. Stoicism offers a cleaner frame. Amor fati does not mean loving pain. It means using what happens as training. The sovereign mind asks one question. What virtue does this situation demand? Courage to have the hard talk. Patience to tolerate discomfort. Justice to be fair. Discipline to stop spiraling. if they refuse responsibility for their inner state. You do not shame them. You simply stop donating your nervous system. You set a boundary that keeps compassion intact without becoming a rescue mission. Use one line that forces reality gently. I care about you. I will listen for 5 minutes, and then we focus on one next step. It might feel awkward because you are changing the rules mid-game, but that is the point. Then track the action ratio. After talking, do they take one concrete action? If the ratio becomes 0 actions for 5 conversations, you limit access. Now that you can spot the 5 patterns, I will give you a small exit toolkit that keeps you firm without turning cold. Tool A, the neutral wall. Stop rescuing, start respecting means you do not feed the performance with emotion. When someone pokes for a reaction in a meeting or text thread, you give them a flat wall. Say noted. Then stop. Do not explain. Do not defend. It feels awkward because silence looks like surrender. But it is control. If they keep pushing, you repeat noted and let the air go cold. The next move is the one-line boundary. Tool B, the one-line boundary noted, is the wall. But this is the gate. When you feel yourself speeding up, stacking explanations, trying to be misunderstood less, you cut it clean. Say, I am not continuing this in this tone. Then stop talking. Let the silence do the work. It can feel tense, like you are being too firm. But that firmness is the point. If they reset, you continue. If they escalate, you use the clean exit. Tool C, the clean exit. The one-line boundary is the warning shot. But this is the door. When it turns into identity attack or moral bargaining, you leave clean before you get hooked. Say, I am going to step away now. We can revisit later if it is constructive. Then actually step away. No extra sentence. It can feel abrupt, like you are being rude. But you are protecting the inner citadel. After that, you stop negotiating and move to the myth that keeps people trapped. The clean exit can look like weakness from the outside, and that is exactly why it works. If you are used to proving yourself, silence feels like losing. Here is the myth. If I do not argue back, I am weak. I am letting them win. But that is not strength. That is addiction to validation. You are confusing being reactive with being powerful. Stoic strength is self-command. You decide what gets access to your mind. Arguing with the wrong person does not protect your reputation. It puts it in their hands. A simple rule helps. If the conversation turns into a courtroom where you have to defend your character, it is already corrupt. You do not prove sovereignty by winning debates. You prove it by refusing to be governed by provocation. After you refuse provocation, the room gets weirdly quiet. That quiet is the moment you learn who wanted control, not resolution. Picture a dinner table, plates half cleared, someone twisting your sentence and smiling. Your chest gets hot, jaw tight, and you feel the old urge to explain for 5 minutes. Instead you say, "We are not doing this tonight." And you stand up to refill water. No speech, no defense. The power dynamic flips because you stopped auditioning. Label, limit, leave, log. That is the whole week. and it is designed to make your reactions measurable. For days 1 and 2, your only job is to name the pattern in real time. Reveler, crowd follower, morally blind, moral negotiator, chronic complainer. On days 3 and 4, you limit it to one sentence and then you stop, even if the silence feels uncomfortable. On days 5 and 6, the moment the tone collapses, you use the clean exit the first time, not the 5th. On day 7, you review what you wrote and set one permanent boundary. Each day, write 4 lines. What triggered you? Which type it was? What move you used? Neutral wall, 1-line boundary, or clean exit. Then score it 0, 1, or 2. 0 means you argued. 1 means you limited. 2 means you exited clean. Keep the sovereignty log for 7 days and let the numbers speak. If your score keeps landing at 0, that is not a personality flaw. It is a boundary problem. Try the protocol and comment sovereign with the type you are limiting first. Subscribe for Stoic scripts for calm, control, and an inner citadel that does not depend on anyone else. Mood.